And joining us from the site of the debate at Hofstra University, Caroline Horn, CBS News Senior Producer for Politics. Caroline, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so let's talk about the numbers. A CBS News poll of about 500 uncommitted voters following the debate. Some pretty interesting information. 37% walked away thinking the president won, 30% thought Mitt Romney won, and 33% thought it was a tie. So you were there, you heard it live. Who do you think was the winner?
Well, certainly if you look at those numbers, it seems like it was a draw across the board. But it's important to remember the context in which the candidates came into the debate last night. President Obama himself admitted that back in Denver 2 weeks ago, he did not have a good evening. He said he was too polite, he was not aggressive enough. You have seen that play out in poll numbers. The polls have tightened, not only nationally, but in battleground states. He needed to come out last night and give an aggressive performance to show to voters that he had a plan for the future to take some of these attacks directly to Governor Romney, and he was able to do that this evening.
You mentioned that the president came across aggressive. What was your take on how Mitt Romney appeared to all of the voters there?
Well, he gave as good as he got. I think you can certainly say that Governor Romney did not have a bad performance last night by any stretch. He was able to come back at the president's attack very strongly. I think that his weakest moment was when he was talking about the attacks in Benghazi, Libya on September 11th. That is a moment that the Obama campaign is likely to highlight in the coming days. However, Romney was strong. He made many of the same points that he made in the previous debate. And I think that's why you saw in our poll numbers reflected really kind of an even split.
Obviously, this was a very different set of circumstances than the first debate that we got to see. The town hall style made it feel a lot more, I guess, informal for those of us watching it at home. How do you think it came across to the audience, and how did the candidates handle it being such a different set of questions from real voters?
Well, it's a very tricky format for the candidates, and you saw a lot of expectation settings before last night's debate. Both campaigns talking about this is a format that favors one versus the other. You have to remember you're getting questions directly from a voter, and in this case it was from an undecided voter from here in Nassau County. That means that not only do you have to answer the question, you have to look the voter directly in the eye, perhaps tell them something that they don't want to hear or that they don't believe. And you're also at the same time have almost 70 million people watching you around the country. So that's why you saw tonight, last night, a lot of the candidates were moving around the stage. You saw them directly engaging with the voters. At some points, you actually saw them engaging directly with each other.
Definitely. At one point, it looked like they were going to have to break them up. And that's sort of what I want to talk about. This was a very aggressive town hall style debate. It seemed like it almost mirrored even more aggressive so than the vice presidential debates. How do you think that affects viewers' perception of these two candidates?
Well, look at the tone of the campaign that we've had so far. It's been very much a scorched earth campaign on the airwaves, in stump speeches. And I think you're seeing some of that spill over into these debates. This is a very tight election. The polls nationally are tied in many of these battleground states, and there are only a handful of them. The polls are also tied. So these two candidates are fighting for every single voter they can get, and as a result, they're really not leaving anything off of bounds.
You mentioned the polls, and of course, leading into this, those polls were definitely closing. After tonight's debate, though, or rather I should say last night's debate, do we see that changing?
That remains to be seen. There was a very big jump in terms of this campaign, in context of this campaign after the first debate. 4 or 5 point swings here and there, mostly in Romney's direction. The president really needs to stem that tide. I think what you're going to see now is things settle back into this tied 50-50 outlook that we've had for months and months and months. And that's probably what we should have all been expecting heading into this debate, because that's where things have been at a stalemate over the course of the campaign.
I think it's safe to say that all of the prepping that we heard both men were doing certainly paid off in last night's debate. I want to talk a little bit about the next and final debate on Monday next week. Of course, our very own Bob Schieffer will be moderating, and the focus of that debate will be foreign policy. What do you think we can expect from the candidates on that one?
Well, that is where one of the big moments from last evening's debate comes into play. We've seen the Romney campaign hammering President Obama in recent days over his response to the attacks in Benghazi, Libya. That was probably a moment that Romney was hoping to score some points tonight. Instead, it seems as though he stumbled a bit. And when we head into this foreign policy debate next week, it's going to be crucial for Romney to be able to project an air that he can be commander-in-chief of the country, that he's ready to make the tough decisions that come with being commander-in-chief of the biggest superpower in the world. So that is going to be the biggest challenge as we head into Monday night's debate in Boca.
Well, it certainly was an enthralling 90 minutes. Caroline Horn, CBS News Senior Producer for Politics, thank you so much.
Thank you.